All right.
Hey.
This is what happens with no
We are
intro.
back from the small commercial break right here.
There was no intro.
Hey, we'll take the claps. So we'll take the claps. Listen, I'm Black Ops.
I'm Miss E.
This is Wonder.
And it's Dean Geronimo. Give us a call. Let's talk about it. 646-233-1302.
Listen, it's good to kind of be back in the
is.
saddle. We got all four of us here. It's
Everybody's
been
here.
a minute.
Yeah.
Super producer and her husband's back from their what year anniversary?
7 and 10.
7 and
Hey.
10. Let's give it up for
All
that.
right, all right.
Hey.
I made it back from Mexico, but we'll get into that in a little bit. We'll get into that. Miss E, where you been? Oh, you know what? And
Where you been?
Oh.
You know, I'm a military.
I almost said the N-word. No. I was going to say that.
No, I was gonna send the Marines. I was like, yo, y'all see Miss E? Right.
Where you been?
No,
I've been right here.
I've been
You
a little.
went on
I
vacation.
know. I've been a little busy, and but I'm back as always. Though, trust and believe. I'll be doing the Let's Talk About It show for a long time.
All
But
right.
you know,
good
we
to
all
see
got
you.
our lives a little bit, but we're here. We're back. But how you
Indeed.
been?
I've been good.
You been
I've
good?
Real good. Yeah.
So you-
Yeah. Go
You
ahead.
you know I'm gonna ask the summer question.
No, I haven't been to the beach. Though.
Right.
I have not been to the beach yet, like at all. And
Right.
so it's been like, it's been a little rough, with my mom and stuff. It's kind of hard to
Understand.
just like.
Okay,
leave
and you've been
like
busy
that.
too.
Yeah, I've been like
on the job. I see you on
super
LinkedIn.
Busy
Right.
at work.
Like
Yeah.
I was getting
I
ready
got
to
a
book an
promotion.
appointment just to say hi. Like,
Oh,
hey, can you
you-
get me
yeah,
in
book me,
Miss
book an
E?
appointment.
Your receptionist was like, she'll see you in 2
I
weeks.
know. I've been like super busy, but I got a promotion. I didn't. tell you
Hey,
about
give
that.
big up for that.
Congratulations.
I did. Yeah. Mhm.
I won't even mention light skin. I won't even.
No.
wow.
It's
No,
not
I'm just
even
messing
about-
with
listen,
you.
It's
I'm
not
just
even
messing
about
with
the
you.
light skin.
I
I'm the
know.
only light skin that got promoted, and
Right.
I'm above.
You know what? I
some-
see your work and I see what you do. I say that in jest, but listen,
Yeah.
you've worked hard to get where you're at. Be
Thank
proud
you.
of your station.
Yeah, I have.
I am no hater.
I worked very hard.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
It's nice to, it's nice to be noticed, and it's nice to be, appreciated. There's a little, a little shadiness because I'm kind of like the newer person,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But that's to be expected.
Sure.
You come in, you
Sure.
work hard, you're not
Right.
all burnt out and tired from the job.
Right.
So if people, see that and they're like,
Listen,
oh,
I just got a
Right.
tattoo put on my foot.
whatever,
Listen.
it's like, look, I've been at this a
It's
long,
a long time,
I've been at
right.
this a long time. I've been working since I was 14 years old.
Right.
Y'all don't bother me. I didn't
Right.
come here to make friends. I'm not
Right.
friendly with
Exactly.
you like
Right.
that anyway. I'm here to do, I
Good
came
job.
in
Right.
with a mission and with a goal, and I'm just trying to accomplish that. And I love what I do. I mean, you
Sure.
see my
You gotta
stuff,
have
you
it.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. I
be
like it. Do you see my
I
likes?
be hyped. Yeah,
Do you
I
say,
do.
okay,
I
all
do.
right,
And
all
keep
right.
me in mind when you get that big house, But, yeah, I love what I do, and I'm good at it. And
You'll be the first person
it's,
I call. I promise
it's
you that.
nice to be able to. It's nice to be able to make a living out of your passion.
Right.
When you do
It's not
something
work.
you love,
It's
it
not
really
work.
is not work.
Right, exactly.
It's not work. And I hustle. I tell people this all the time. I would do this for free.
Right.
If I was doing something else, I'd be like, girl, what you doing? Yeah, what? Well, there was a time
know
when
what
I
you
would
mean.
do it for free.
Well, hair
but
quotes, right?
no,
No,
but
but-
I don't do it for free. I got
Right.
checks in my bag now. I ain't even cashed. I'm like, girl, you better cash some checks. I ain't
Right.
even cash them.
Yeah,
So-
okay. All
But,
right, yeah.
mhm.
Put
So-
me down. How
Like
can I
Common
be
said,
down?
can I
So
borrow
I'm just saying,
$1?
I'm just trying to I guess share a little joy because I don't really talk so much about my
Yeah.
job, and it
Right.
was kind of.
Listen, oh my God.
it's
Like,
a
you
little,
great segue. Where you
yeah.
been, Missy? You got some great segues. Listen, let me
Yeah,
jump in. Let me, like, double dutch. Let me
Yeah,
get in
yeah,
there
go
real
ahead.
quick.
Do you.
Listen, first off, I had got a tattoo here recently, and it said, know that the path that you may walk in life may be a lonely one. Meaning, the farther along you go on your journey, you have to understand the less people are going to be around you, but you
Right.
still have to walk upright and resolute.
Right.
You have to do that. My second thing is on Facebook, I just recently posted as well. And, I don't get into my personal life, but I talked about that. Like, I don't think you should, and I've talked about it on the show, you should post everything about yourself on Facebook. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
My married life is my married life. My job is my job.
Yeah.
Every now and then, I'll post up a vacation picture or so, but I don't need everybody with the show, with their bags of popcorn at home.
Right.
You know, as the hogs turn. Like, that's not it.
I'm going to say one other thing, though, too, is that it's been like this journey that I've been on. This is really like a second career for me, and I've been doing this a while now, like 15 years. And it's nice also to like bring people into what you're doing and help.
Absolutely, you have to
help build them up as well. You know,
Right.
like I've met some good contractors and painters, and even my photographer, Tali Nelson. He does all my pictures and stuff. And his pictures are on our website now, and we're on a national website. And I had to text him. I'm like, you know what? I am so proud of you. I'm like, your pictures are on our website.
That's what's up.
That's big. You know what
can
I'm
we
saying?
get some love for him
That's
like that?
big.
Indeed.
Yeah. And I didn't really, we just kind of like connected and stuff, and he kind of like took a chance on me, and I took a chance on him, because he doesn't really do, he does, people. He's portrait photography, I guess that's what it's called or whatever. And so he, started doing my interiors, and I've been getting absolutely fantastic, feedback. And, I posted up some pictures that he did for me. And, they have to review them because, the pictures got to meet a certain standard. You just can't be taking some phone picture, or somebody, because you're representing the brand, Sure. And every single one of his pictures is up there, is under my bio. And not only that, but if you go to the corporate website, his stuff is up there, and I'm like, dude, that is so awesome. That is so awesome.
See, now I feel caught up. Now I can sleep tonight, right? Caught up with that. All right. We're going to turn here to Dean Geronimo.
Hey, man,
what's been going on,
you know
man?
what? Still hanging on like an old loose tooth. That's what I say. Getting back from Costa Rica on Monday, man.
Welcome back. Was it hot down there?
Not as hot as it was up here. I heard everybody
it
was
was
on
blazing
up here.
Yeah, it was blazing.
But the weather was warm, but we had the nice breeze come through. Where we were by the coastline, so how what was the lady name? Say she could see Russia from her backyard.
Oh, Palin.
That's Sarah Palin.
Well, we literally could see Nicaragua from the beach because it was right there.
Wow.
So we told the truth. We're not lying. We do have pictures. But we were there for a wedding, beautiful wedding, man, and
nice.
Now it's time to come back to
reality.
Because I came back to no lights.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Sat in the dark for like 2 days.
I was like, what's going on?
It was hot while you guys were away. It was blazing hot.
It was
and then
blazing
it was like
hot.
storming no, but I'm telling you, it was like feeling like 105 degrees. That Jersey hot is different.
Yeah.
There's no breeze coming in, and it was hotter than anything, man.
Right. All right. Wow. Wonder, what's good, man?
Yes, sir.
How you been, brother?
I'm good, brother. Good to see you, man.
Good to be seen, man. I mean that,
I missed
man.
you the last show.
Yeah, I missed you guys. I'm just like trying
the
to.
last couple shows.
Right. Just no. You were gone when I was here. You were gone, right?
Okay.
But it just a little busy. Life comes at you a little bit, but I love what I do here, and I love this platform.
Good.
And I believe this is year 4. Once we hit October.
Yeah.
And
2015.
Yeah,
wow.
it's right. It's a voice that we bring to the people. We have a religious following. We do.
Yeah.
And we know we reach the 4 corners of the earth, if you will. So as long as it continues to bring a message out to an audience, and I say, hey, let's continue to do that. So, but in any event, though, Wonder, what's your summer been like?
Pretty uneventful, really. Just working,
Like
man.
mine.
That's all. Just
We the only
working.
ones that ain't going on vacation.
That's
right?
it. Got my little garden growing at our temple, like I said.
Nice.
We was gonna do, and it's coming along. And
What you plant?
we started small. We planted some spices, some zucchini, some
Tomatoes.
bell peppers, the small tomatoes, the big tomatoes. What else? That's it. Like we wanted to see how we do.
Right.
You know, because
Tomatoes
I don't have
will
a
do
green
well.
thumb. You
Yeah,
know what
but
I'm saying?
Neither do
tomatoes
I.
in Jersey will
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
well.
you just got to
they're
keep
gonna-
up on them. So
Yeah,
you need a lot of
they'll
water.
do well.
All
Yeah.
right.
And so, but you know, it's coming along. That's the thrill, man. That's the thrill of
Right.
my life right about now.
All
Listen,
right.
and that's a beautiful thing. Like anytime, I always say is when your eyes open up and you step on
Yeah.
the floor and you're here another day, that's a
Yeah.
blessing. So whatever you make of that day,
Yeah.
it's positive. That's a good thing.
It was funny because you know, as we're, you know, putting in the dirt, the plant food, you know how we always talk about our past. I'm
Right.
like, who would have thought, you know,
right?
from Westerville, now I'm back here planting,
Watering your garden.
standing over my garden, calling my plants my babies. You know what I mean?
Pulling weeds.
Hey
like,
man, that's what it is.
Laying down the
right?
bed talking about did I dig those holes?
Right.
Water
what
for
it
the
is,
lot.
man.
But no, that's the fruit,
Yeah.
man. Listen, again, 50 plus, late 40s, it's time to make that transition. And I had a
Yeah.
conversation with somebody recently, again, about that turning the page at a certain age. Listen, we all love the 80s and the 90s. We all party like rock stars,
But
right?
they're gone now.
Right,
You
but
know
at the
what I mean?
end of
Yeah,
this,
it's about-
you're 60.
Right.
Right.
Right. And at the end of that, you're 70.
Like that.
Right.
You know what's
Still
you know
can't
what's-
go
you
to
know
the
what's
club,
funny?
man.
Yeah.
What's funny about that
I be
is
loving my 90s
places
music,
where
though.
we go
I do too.
at the age that I'm at now. Certain friends who I love dearly, but you know, it's like all through my 40s, like I would get, yo, could we? So you can't wear sneakers in there, or like, no, man, you grown, put a suit
Right,
on,
right,
brother.
right.
Now
Right.
here's the thing. Now I do believe when you stay young at heart, it keeps you young.
That's different.
Nobody's
Right.
saying that
Right.
you don't have
Right,
to
that's
have
different.
fun,
Right.
you know, but it's a different type of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a different. You should want to be in a different vibe. You know, the days of being in crowded clubs
Yeah,
are no
no.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
that's-
Yeah.
I'm not
that's
mean
a no.
mugging,
Yeah.
rocking
I
on the
need
wall
to-
anymore. Yeah.
Put me in a lounge with a cigar.
Cigar.
I'm good. I'm
yeah,
good,
I had a
man.
cohiba in Mexico that was vicious.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God. So
Okay.
I had to.
Yeah,
I had
so
to.
that's-
You'll
that's
get you a
all.
hold of some of the Javas, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, and as we move on in the show, well, it's more of a potpourri, so we're going to talk about a few things here. But, you know, I want to share my experience out of Mexico. So, again, being a military guy, I've been all over the planet. I've had fish head soup. You name the delicacy, yaki mandu from Korea. I mean, on and on throughout the world. So I get down to Mexico, right? And I'm just like, man, Cancun is beautiful. Like, I got the shades going. I'm just like, tank top. I'm just like, I worked on this all winter so I could walk around. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah. So day one, I was like, good. Day two, I was like, all right. Day three, they had a breakfast meat, and I should have known better. I should have known better. I should have. So I said, you know what, Sean? All right, let's mess with it a little bit. So I go get me an omelet. I got the breakfast meat and the whole nine. I bit into whatever the mystery meat was, right? Immediately, my body said, hey, bruh, that was a bad move,
Oh,
dude.
no.
That was a bad
Well, what
move.
was it? You didn't know what it was?
No.
Grease.
No.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh,
And
no.
they use, no kidding, real, like their corn oil there. Like, I don't know how to do, but it lit me up. It got to the point where I couldn't even smell the oil. And that next day, I actually stayed in the room in my birthday suit, windows, like shades drawn, TV off, balled up in like the fetal position, timing how I was going to make it from the bed to the bathroom because it was a serious situation. And I had the exits out both ends.
Oh, no.
And I was like, so here I am in Cancun hurting like that.
Oh, no.
So then my diet became, hey, shout out to Fruit Loops too. Can we get a round of applause for Fruit Loops? Fruit Loops, the cereal.
Fruit Loops, Toucan Sam.
Right,
All right.
Fruit Loops, bread, and fruit became my meal. If I had to stay down there like another 2 to 3 days, I would have came back to the U.S. early.
Don't
Wow.
blame
Like
you.
I was that
I don't blame
hip.
Hit,
Cancun was beautiful.
Right.
Oh my God, it was majestic. We'll use that word.
Yeah.
But I was like, yo, I don't know what the is going on. I said, but I can't come back. Somebody said, hey, Sean, we're going to give you all expense paid trip to Cancun. I'm like, save your money.
Oh, wow.
Save your money.
Wow.
My son just came
So-
back from Mexico Wednesday, so he
Did-
must have been out there around the same time.
Yeah. There were a couple people down there. I posted, I saw Pi Gamma. Shout out to the Q's at Norfolk Steak.
Pure
I ran
gold.
into them. And they were down there in force. I was like, oh man, you run into the bros everywhere. But
that's funny though, because I know, like when I went to Cuba, when I tell you, I was so hungry because like I bought snacks and stuff to eat because I was a little wary about like the food, you know, because I was like, I don't know, it wasn't. The first time we went to a restaurant, it was pretty good, but it just wasn't like, because they don't get a lot of stuff that we get, so they don't get a lot of spices and things. You would think like it was like it was not what you think of Cuban food. Like you thinking that U.S. Cuban food, their food because of the embargo, everything is real plain and it's not like a lot of vegetables and things like that. The best meal I had was I went to a hotel, and I went to the hotel on the beach, and they had a really nice bread, and I swear I wish I had some Tupperware because I would have like took some home back? Or back to the place because I was so. Because I was just eating my little snacks because I was wary about, like, the food just wasn't that good. And I was like, I'm not going to just eat anything. Right. But, oh, man, yeah.
No, and then I was telling my line brother here, Dean Geronimo, because, we as black people think ginger ale will cure anything. You be like, my arm's blown off. They be like, drink some ginger ale.
Drink some ginger ale, get some crack.
Good,
right.
But they only
it's
had
all true, though. It's all true.
It is true. It's scientifically
right. But they only had 7-Up, and then the cans were these little skinny cans of 7-Up. And then, of course, at night when you're
like... It probably wasn't the same, right?
Yeah, it
probably
wasn't.
Was the, bootleg 7-Up.
Right, it was flat, and I was like, God, please just get me through this night. It was like that. I was like, dang. So I was like, God has a sense of humor, because I know I paid a lot of money for that goddamn trip, and my feelings were hurt. But no, listen, and that's going to take me into my Let's Keep It Real moment. The Black Ops, Let's Keep It Real moment. All right, so let's talk bathing suits real quick.
Okay.
And listen, there were a lot of Europeans that were there at Cancun, and there were some Americans there. All I'm saying is your bathing suit should be appropriate for your body type.
Okay. I agree.
Because a few times I had to put my shades on my head, and I literally wanted to look at both male and female and say, you are wrong for that.
Stop the madness, right?
Like, it was bad.
Listen, people be on vacation, they don't care.
They
you
don't
right.
Listen, the
Right.
Speedo on the fat European guy is not a good look, and the 2-piece on the 300-pound and listen, it's okay to wear. Let me be clear, it's okay to wear.
This
2-piece.
is not fat shaming. This is true.
Right, if you want to wear that. But when it's like super tight, when you're trying to tell yourself I can fit in this one, obviously you need. Right,
and your
and you
body
need a
said,
bigger
"No,
size."
you
I was
can't
like,
that's not good.
yeah, I was like, who is talking to these people?
They on vacation. They like, I'm putting it out. Y'all, they like, I'm
Yeah, because
wearing
it was a
nothing.
couple of
Let's
dudes in
keep it
Costa
real.
Rica, man,
They
had
don't care.
Let's keep it real.
barrels and walk with no shirts on, dog. Like,
I took my shirt. I didn't care. I was like, hey, I'm not saying I have a
Was
6-pack.
anybody like nude bathing or anything? Because I remember when I
They did the top thing,
Yeah,
and like they would lay down, and then when you get up, you'd be like, all right, let me put my shades on. You're like, they actually got some big ass titties. But it is that European culture,
Yeah,
though.
he's
I'm
sitting
just-
there looking
yeah.
like,
Right.
got milk.
Right.
I remember when I went to I think it was Guadalupe, and we were on the beach, and this woman, she didn't have a top on, and then her kids, I mean, they were little. They were little, and I know sometimes when kids are little, you'll take their clothes off and stuff, at the beach. And her kids was naked as jaybirds, and I was like,
yeah, no,
that
and
must
they
be
did
something. And I
that.
could tell, she didn't speak English. I was like, oh, that's must be
No,
how they roll.
male and females, like, and you could tell that they were
But
European.
sometimes the kids, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't wear the top, and I was like, my granddaughter's gonna have a top on.
Her kids was naked. I mean, it was, it wasn't like naked at the Jersey Shore naked. I mean, it was beautiful water, and they were little. They were little kids, But I was like, I guess that's how
Yeah,
they
you still
roll.
got to be careful
Yeah.
about that because
I don't know. And then people were
That's
getting
how
it in
they
on
it
roll.
may
beach
be
night.
Herb
Like,
the
oh,
perv
wow.
over there, bro. You know what I mean?
But Cancun was beautiful. The people were very nice. I can't take anything away from Cancun. I did go cliff diving, whatever that is. Like, there was, like we walked up and there was like, oh, the cliff's right there. And I'm looking, I'm like, those are trees. What do you mean there's a cliff? Yeah, but there's a
take
hole.
3 steps past that.
Yeah, there's a hole in the ground. And like, you look down into that hole and you walk out on this little board and they tell you to jump in. I was just like, oh, man. And of course, I had my son there. I mean, stuff like that doesn't rattle my cage anyway. So I was like, you know what? I'm going in.
Okay.
Well, I was down there
In the water?
in the water. Yeah.
So there's nothing on, you just jumping
Yeah,
off
just
into the water.
into the
Mhm.
water, right?
Yeah, I'd have
And then
been
we
that
did
dude,
the,
like, see y'all
the
want-
zip
I'd have
line.
been like, you want me to film me for
I'ma
you?
go ahead and video that for you.
I'll
No,
be videoing
no.
it.
Then we
I'm
went
with
to
I
you,
do
would be a
the.
little nervous at this age. I would be
I'm
scared.
right there with
You
you.
gotta
I'd
die
be
someday.
scared.
I always say.
We'll
Listen,
be walking down the hill together, like.
I'd be a little
I ain't
scared. Yeah.
We're-
When I was
we're on
younger,
the-
I'd have been like, yeah, but now I'm like,
No, it
oh,
wasn't
no.
bad.
I'd be
Things
afraid.
take longer
we
to
had to
heal
climb
after
up
they
to do
break
the
that.
zip line. The zip line was on the top of the
The
tree
zip
line.
line I could do.
Listen, but they made a homemade contraption to climb up to the top of the zip line
Yeah, we
thing,
never got
and it
that.
was a group of 4 young ladies from Brooklyn, and do you know they got up there, and like 2 of them turned around. I was like, I ain't doing that. And then when you step to swing out onto the zip line, they had nothing to catch you. So like,
Oh, yeah,
if
yeah.
you tripped getting on the
Yeah.
thing, you were dead.
Yeah.
You were done. And when I say we were up there,
Yeah.
I was like, as we were climbing up, like the thing was shaking. I was like, yo, watch me die in Mexico on some
On
freak
some
accident. Everybody
bootleg
Everybody
ladder
beat the
trying to
man
get to the zip line.
Right.
Bro,
I was like, if it's not the food, it's this. I was like, I'm getting the hell out of Mexico. It ain't a place for me. Yo. But anyway, that's to keep it real.
Good stuff, man.
Fit into your own bathing suit. All right.
Can't
Anyway, so
Please
what we
do,
got? I'm gonna see
right?
you up. You got anything for us?
Oh, well, let's see. It's been a minute since we got together, right? So, I was thinking of something as you were talking. I know we're going to be talking about Donald Trump and all that, and I know we're going to be talking about it was something you said, and it triggered something in me, and I was like, oh, we need to talk about that. Maybe it'll just come back to me. I can't even really remember right now. Something you said, but I
Did
can't
you gonna
remember.
let me cash some of those checks that you haven't cashed yet?
I didn't cash. No. I'm
She said that
good.
was not a part of the
Yeah,
conversation.
I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
Well, we'll come back to you.
Yeah,
Miss
come back to me because
Well,
you
we got
said
one there.
something. I was like, ooh, that. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
what do we have? Well, if you've been paying attention to the news, this building that was supposed to be like a organ donor warehouse. Did you guys see this on the news?
No.
Okay.
I did see the clip though.
Yeah, I sent
Yeah,
you something,
I'm
right?
informed. Yeah, right.
All right, so let me read this. So anyway, it's a story. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just kind of brief you on it. Somehow the FBI got a tip, or they got word that there was a warehouse where they keep, organs,
Right.
Wow.
where people donate their organs, and they're supposed to warehouse them
okay.
and freeze them. But when they got there, some of the agents said that they found freezers filled with penises.
Right.
They were not labeled, so they didn't know who they belonged to.
Oh my goodness.
They were not tagged. First of all, I didn't even know that they stored those in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's news.
You know what?
Arms, legs, hands, feet, you name it. Severed heads. They found severed heads. Now, what are you gonna do with that? You gonna replace it with somebody else?
Oh my God.
So,
Yeah, can
you
get
know-
a hand transplant? Like, I don't like
right.
mine.
So, there's also a connection between that and I think one in Chicago or somewhere in Illinois. Thousands, well, hundreds, close to thousands of remains, cadavers.
Mhm.
Just, and here's the other thing that's really scary. The vital organs that they did find are supposed to be labeled if this person had any type of illness. And I guess through inventory, they knew that coming in, certain people had certain diseases from hepatitis to HIV, none of them were labeled. So these vital organs were not labeled. So no telling what, so that's another concern. So, I mean, it's scary. Now, people have accused me for being a conspiracy theorist.
No way.
And, yep, you believe it? But I will say this. It's stuff like that. When people go missing, people get targeted.
Yeah, trafficking.
And immediately, as I was looking at the news feed video, you start scrolling and you see similar stories that are, close in, just close to that story. Mm-hmm. So one of the stories that came up was the young black boy who was last seen running across a gymnasium floor, and then they later found his body wrapped up in a wrestling mat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And his organs were removed, and his body was stuffed with paper.
Yes.
And then the sheriff of that county immediately ruled it as just, well, we don't know what happened. Just killed the case. So, all I can say, man, you gotta be careful. I know it's an urban legend, people waking up in tubs filled with ice and you gotta zip it down your belly with your liver missing, but just be careful. Because people are sick.
What are they doing with these things? So what would they be doing, like, with a head?
Doing something. They're doing something. Here's the other piece. The other thing that's crazy is that in Libya,
it's without the body,
slaves,
right?
the black people that were being bought, and that's not conspiracy. They were undercover people that went there and actually purchased like $400 or $500. But here's the kicker: a lot of those people, those Africans who are in Libya who are being bought and sold as slaves, they're disappearing. Like after they're purchased, they're not being found. So some people believe that they could be used for organs. Also, people are keeping a close eye on Westerners who come to Africa adopting these children in droves, like in bunches, So, I'm not saying it's all true, but when you start connecting the dots, listen. If a man can walk in, if people say, I don't know, that's a bit of a stretch, but it's not a bit of a stretch for an FBI agent to open up a freezer and find severed heads. So which one sounds more surreal? Right. The one that's surreal is the facts where the receipts are. Right. So you be foolish to just kind of gloss over it as though this can't be, So it's scary, very scary. Yeah, what are you gonna do with severed heads? What are you going to do with that?
Yeah, what can you do with that?
What are you going to do with that?
The eyes and...
That's what I was thinking, but that's just sick.
Make you a mask like Leatherface?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what can you do without keeping the organs, like, together or alive? I mean, you can't transplant... when they... someone donates their kidney or something like that, there's a whole procedure, but they have to keep that kidney, like, fresh. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a dead organ. They have to keep it. So once that organ is removed from the body and withers, what do you do with it?
No good.
It's no good. So why would you keep it? I don't get it. That's really, but unless... I don't know. That's really crazy.
Severed heads.
And we've talked about this a little bit, Wonder now offline, but you really have to be cognizant of your surroundings, situational awareness. Like when your life is on the line, as we say in the military, wolf or sheep, you decide. Like because you never know where you're gonna end up at.
Ooh,
it's best.
Scary.
It's best to go down and fight. Like if I get killed fighting, like I lost, but I'm not somewhere in some building get my arms hacked off. Like I rather it's done there, or I'm gonna neutralize that threat.
And
as
then
we say,
also
keep
make
it
you
moving.
wonder who are these people, who were these people, and whatever happened to their cases, so like at some point, I would think that their family reported them missing, or were they vulnerable people that, you think about somebody that's like out in the street, getting high, or a prostitute or something like that, where they may not have close contact with their family, and for them to be gone for weeks, let alone months at a time, is not like so out of their MO. So they might be like targeting, vulnerable people. Like that guy we were going to talk about, that Jeffrey Epstein guy that is
he just got his ass kicked in prison.
Yeah, they said he was unconscious.
He tried to kill himself. And
they said they found him unconscious in a cell. This guy,
Orange
when
Julius
they,
is homeboy.
This case, kind of came back to the attention. This guy he got some sweetheart deal like 13 years ago for, they said, the girl was like,
trafficking.
Well, it wasn't trafficking. It was like, it wasn't even like rape. It was like soliciting maybe like a minor or some minor, and I don't say this lightly, a minor sexual, charge. And he got probation, this, that, and the other. This guy was, and he wasn't doing it by himself. People were bringing in girls to him.
He was a billionaire.
And I was like, where's he getting all these girls from?
He has the complexion for the connection.
And they were targeting girls that were, vulnerable.
Homes,
they're vulnerable, and it's like,
families.
It's sick. It's so sick. And again, he's not doing it by himself, because from what the accounts were, this guy barely left his house. So that means people are helping.
Paying people to go out there.
Exactly. It's absolutely sick.
Now, with this story, I don't necessarily, this is all assumption now. There was one person that they highlighted, and she kept her face like, you could just see the silhouette of her, but it was her husband. And he served in the military, and he wanted to donate his body, his organs, whatever. And she still had, all kinds of things. It's Murphy's Law with this particular company, because she still hasn't received the death certificate. Like it's been a while, and she's waiting for them to, give over the death certificate and all this stuff. And they just went blank on her. Like, so there's a lot of stuff going on. There are a number of people who did donate their bodies, like they're not missing, but the thing is that they're trying to find out who are these organs, who do these organs belong to. But what I can't get out of my mind, what I can't wrap my mind around, is a freezer full of heads. Oh, and torsos. Torsos. See, it's one thing to donate your body, your organs, but there are just certain things. What are you doing with it? Anybody ever see the movie The Island? Mm-hmm. Yeah, The Island. It was a sci-fi, and basically these people were being homegrown. They were being genetically, homegrown, like in a test tube, and they were pretty much all fit, and they don't even recall how they ended up where they were. They were like in this facility, and they grew up there, and they were full-grown adults, but they had like minds of like teenagers, because their bodies were growing fast. And one particular person that, he was the star of the movie, finally, his curiosity got the better of him, and he wanted to know why they were confined there. And it's crazy because sometimes they would call a name and say, so-and-so, come on. And people would clap like, he gets to leave. Man, I can't wait till it's my time. Turns out that these were clones. So they were clones to people with wealth and money, so who were sick. So when the real person was deathly ill, they would take their clone and take out whatever was needed, be it a heart, eyes, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. It's called The Island. It came out about maybe 10 years ago or something.
I might have to
Michael
watch
Clark
that.
Duncan was in it.
I
I forget. What's my man's name? Played in Amistad. He was the main character in Amistad.
Yeah, I know.
He's in it.
Jamin Hunsu.
Yeah. Check it out. But it makes you, then when you read real stuff like this, that's even more surreal than the movie itself. It's like, man, that's crazy. So yeah.
That's why I say this world, man, like, be prepared always, you know. It's crazy. What we got, Dean Geronimo?
Well, put on your calendars November 1st, 2019. The movie about the legendary Harriet Tubman will be coming
I did see
out.
that. Yeah.
It's going to feature Cynthia Erivo, Janelle Monáe, Leslie Odom Jr. Make sure you go see it, man. I know some people will say, we don't need another slave movie.
No, we need this one.
We need this one. Y'all need to learn you something, like the country folks used to say. So make sure, you go out there and support that. Blow it up on the first day. Pack those movie houses out. Take some people that don't want to go so they can learn them something too.
When is it coming out again?
November 1st.
November 1st.
Friday, November 1st of this year.
I'll make sure I'm there for
So,
that. We should all just, if we
I
can,
like
man.
that.
it's a Friday, all get together, go watch
We
and come
should.
back and talk about it.
Yeah, we should.
Let's
We
book
should have an
that.
outing,
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of that, in other news, I feel bad for Royal Caribbean because they're facing a lawsuit right now. Royal Caribbean, the cruise line. Maybe my cruise will be cheaper. I don't know. But a teenager says she was actually gang raped. She was applied with alcohol and gang raped in one of the cabins. The 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals overturned the lower court decision that dismissed that case. So now, the minor was on a cruise in late 2015 with her two sisters and grandparents when nearly a dozen male passengers brought alcoholic drinks for her in the lounge and other public areas of the ship. She became intoxicated and was led to a cabin where she was gang raped, allegedly. She sued Royal Caribbean, but a district judge found that the claims against them failed because they did not sufficiently allege that Royal Caribbean breached its duty of care or that any breach proximately caused her injury. So I'll be following that to pay attention and see what happens with that. And shout out lastly to Meek Mill. His case was overturned and
Good for him.
he was granted a new trial. So hopefully when this comes around now, and based on the work that he did, he didn't just sit back and complain about woe is me or they're trying to railroad me. He started to help others in that same situation.
Advocated for that. Yeah.
And now time has passed, so Lord willing, they'll go ahead and dismiss that case and he can be completely free. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
some things to
Good
just
for
watch
him.
out for, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Listen, there's so much going on in this world. Like, you always wonder, like, will there ever be a time of, like, some type of normalcy or peace,
Nope.
on this planet?
Yeah, I don't think there will be. I don't think it's the world's not designed like that.
No.
I don't think. I think we have like glimpses of it. I think what you get is the hope that it will. I don't think this earth ever was without chaos and confusion. I mean, it wasn't.
Right.
Without that conflict. Like you need that conflict. But I think it's what instills hope in you that it will get better. Because without that, if it was always good, what would you hope for, right?
Right.
What would be the point of life if everything was always perfect? What would the point be?
Like, to get to some type of normalcy when you don't have to kind of turn on your TV and you're seeing torsos.
But it's all about the bottom line to why I say it's not going to be that way, because the bottom line is money. Like, as horrific as that was with the body parts,
there's money tied in
somebody's
there,
getting
something
paid
like that.
behind that.
Just somebody
Well,
trying
and
to
it's
bag
always
the war.
exactly.
When it
There's
comes to
always
just
that conflict,
the chaos that you're
It's
talking
always going
about.
to be that,
There's
right?
always money. It's funny you mention that because
I mean, even the
you have
Bible
crime-
says
you
the
have
love
the
of money
unit,
is the root of all evil. It's the love of money.
You have the like the drug unit, you know,
Yeah.
that we're very familiar with. And
Run. Yo.
right. But here's the thing. You have people who have made careers off of that. That if that stopped, there would be a division where they would have to, the jails in upstate New York that begin to deplete. They started, the jails wanted to sue the state because they promised them that you would have bodies, the warehouse. It's money, man.
Right.
So violence has to be created because you connect the dots so that you can send people to jail so they can make money, and so you can whack heads off and storm in fridges so somebody can get paid for that.
But it's
crazy, man.
No, and and I'm a bit of a news junkie, and so even when I tune into the CNN, sometimes I'm like, I look for a feel-good story every now and then.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you know,
I think just not to cut you off, but I think that there's more good stories than bad stories. But the bad stories are the ones
That's the
that
news
sell.
cycle.
That
Right.
sell. You know,
Right.
That's
nobody
what makes
wants
money.
to hear.
Right.
That's the thing that makes money.
So, right, great segue again. You're doing a great job. So we're gonna jump in a little bit into Robert Mueller, Congress, and
I am so over this crap.
I know, but it's
so
news, right?
Over this,
And I sat there and I watched, I'd say at a minimum 3 hours of it because that's who I am. And to look at Mueller, like I don't want to say he stayed with the company line, meaning having come out of the government, having worked for him for 24 and a half years, like I could tell his posture and his answers, like, and how he was going there. But the underlying tone from Mueller was this: lock Trump's ass up when he comes out of office.
That was
he
the
couldn't
line.
say it any
He
plainer.
couldn't say it. Okay.
He couldn't say it, and then
he
I
was
watched.
saying it, but not.
He
He
couldn't
was saying
right.
it, right?
Because it wasn't within his scope when the investigation.
With the investigation, right?
Right, the culpability of that. Can you press charges against him? He's a sitting president, so we all know that
That's
can't
not gonna
happen,
happen.
right? So for me, when I look at our commander in chief, and I don't care, Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. Again, you want some form of stability, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. You're gonna have your pro and your con and the whole nine there, but when you have to have a hearing about the acts of the commander in chief, and you use words like conspire, when you suggest or you say that, had it not been for his given station, the presidency,
I mean, his
Right.
job
he would have
been indicted,
or incarcerated. And at some point in American history, like the books that'll be written about Donald Trump's presidencies from both sides, the right and left, are going to be incredible. But for me, it's the underlying damage to our nation for years to come after he comes out of office. And this is where we live. No matter how you slice it, it is where we live. And so you want safety and security where you live. Do we have struggles as African Americans? Absolutely. Every day for generations going back to slavery. But you still, as you would say, hope that we would move towards a normal narrative for all people within this country and opportunity. And right now, that particular lane has been closed, and there's a lane that's been reopened from years past, and it comes from the highest
It works its way
office.
down.
We got
And no, but I wanted to say, I hope that justice prevails eventually, if convicted, and that it starts to rewrite the narrative of today. That's all I wanted to say about that.
You know,
we got an online viewer that asks, Eric Dennis asks, what's the statute of limitations on 45's illegal acts? I don't think
The
there
day
is one.
the day he comes out of the day he comes out of
Right.
office.
Yeah, the day he's no
What?
longer president, like New York State is probably going to get him for something.
Oh, without,
Yeah,
without
New
question.
York
They're
State
waiting, yes.
definitely,
Yeah.
because they already just waiting on him. You know, once he is no longer president and he is no longer, I guess bound by the school of thought, although this is not the law, okay? This is the philosophy that you can't indict a sitting president. That's
Right.
not the law.
Right.
But it is, I guess, the gentleman's agreement that, you can't, that the president of the United States, and I think Richard Nixon said this, that he can't break the law.
Right.
Like he's incapable of breaking the law in that role. I mean, you literally would have to kill somebody, to be indicted.
So basically,
as,
he has presidential immunity.
He has immunity for
Right.
the office, I guess, carries
For the
a
office,
certain
right.
The
Okay.
office
Right.
carries it. I mean, and I think within reason, the stuff he's doing is shady. It's shady. It's like right on the borderline where
It's on that
you can't
line,
even
right?
really. Yeah, it's right on the borderline where, like, if this was a governor, they may pursue, charges against him. But because he's the president, he has a wide latitude of authority, So the whole
But
thing
listen,
sucks,
though.
man. The fact that we're even having these conversations
And they're becoming
is
normal.
just sickening. Yes, we just
Yeah.
like
Listen.
numb to it. I never, ever, ever thought that I would be 52 years old thinking I can't wait for the next year to be old. You know what I mean? Like at this age, I never thought I would be rushing time to say,
Say, "Get this
Jesus,
guy out
I
of here."
can't wait for this, to be over. And that's how I feel. I'm so sick of it. I am so like, a part of me is like numb to it. I mean, I try to, I try to keep politically informed and stuff,
Right.
but I am so sick of this bullshit.
Right.
And the way that they're trying to normalize it. I mean, the way this guy talks is just like unfreaking believable. It
Wait,
is
I'll-
unbelievable the
Right.
way he represents him. And I'm gonna end on this. We think we got a clown in office. Great Britain just their parliament just elected a bigger clown than Trump.
Yeah, he's like the Trump
that
of
guy,
Britain.
Boris
wow.
Johnson. That
Yeah.
guy is like, he's
see-
even worse than Trump.
But see, the thing.
Like, we got a
That's
clown,
they
but
was
y'all,
an
y'all got a
accomplishment
bigger
right there.
clown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were going over the numbers again that got Trump in, and to your, I guess to our point, I don't think, if I were a betting man, I don't even think much is going to happen to Trump when he gets out of office. He may be denounced through Congress or whatever, but America will be too embarrassed because they're the ones that put him up there, and by and large,
Well,
they're still supporting him.
Listen,
They
I
still,
don't-
they,
listen,
yeah,
still,
I don't-
Go ahead.
I say
Yeah,
that.
I hear
think
what
they're
you're
too-
saying, but
I think
yeah.
I think they're going to be too embarrassed to lock him up. I can't see him doing time. I just can't. I can't see him behind bars. I mean, listen, this
Yeah,
man.
I can't see that either.
I can't see. I really can't see. I mean, at best, he'll be denounced some kind of way, but I don't. I mean, really, what do we expect to happen to him?
Listen, New
What
York.
would we
like-
Listen, New York
I don't-
convicts him.
Yeah, New York State.
convicts him.
Yeah,
New York
the
State
state is
convicts him.
completely
Joe Biden's
different.
in office. He's not pardoning Trump. Trump will sit in prison. Biden will not pardon Trump.
Well,
he needs to sit in prison.
I think the stuff that New York State is
See,
building
every
on
road
him
has
is
a stop
stuff
sign,
from
bro.
it's
Yeah.
like stuff dealing with the Trump organization. It's not anything dealing with his presidency.
Correct.
This is stuff that
what you did
is
before is gonna
this
catch
is
up
stuff
with you.
that's like his
Yeah.
his business kind of
Right.
stuff.
They're like,
that
great
what
job
they're
as president.
what they're trying to
Gotta
go
lock
after
you up for
him
this.
for. Right. So
Time will
that's
tell.
what that's what they're quote unquote building a case on. I just sometimes I just feel like I'm in a twilight zone with this guy. You know the way he was telling the congresswomen to go back to where
Right.
they came from. Like,
Right.
what? And who says this kind of
You know,
crap?
a person with limited common sense capacity will make, statements like that, and those
In that
who
role,
are
in
of
that
the,
role,
but
right, in
those
that
who are
role.
of the same mindset will back him
Yeah,
up
and they, yep.
on those statements. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the shout out to Lady T who's watching online too.
Big up. Big
Shout
up.
out to Lady T.
It's interesting. I call him Orange Julius. That's my name for him, because he looks like me in the face, and his arms and hands are like that.
I mean, he's
But
ugh.
like it starts now. You got the congressional elections coming up, right? That'll be this year. So
the presidential election next year.
right. So it starts now. For y'all who don't have your IDs, get them.
Yeah.
Find out how you can vote by mail. Find out who's has your best interest. Stop voting party lines. Stop voting just because your mama, grandmama, and your uncle told you they came to their church, so they're good people. Pay attention to what the people are saying and vote who will work for you, because that's what they're supposed to do anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
this next election, if Joe Biden isn't the one, you got 4 more years of Trump.
Orange
I'm not sure.
Julius.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not feeling very confident about any of these Democratic nominees.
But
I
you
think
gotta.
Joe Biden's time, I'll be honest with you, Joe Biden's time would have been last time. You know,
Right.
the
But
last 4 years.
Right. By the numbers, though, when they say math doesn't lie, it needs just the Quinnipiacs. And we all know how polls go because there's a margin of error. But he's beating Trump outside of the margins of error, which is a
Listen,
good
I
thing.
can't
Yeah.
even.
But-
No offense, no disrespect. I do not trust any of these polls. Up
No,
until
I'm not-
the
yeah,
day
right.
of the election, November 9th, 2016, Hillary Clinton was beating Donald Trump.
Hillary
Up
Clinton
until
beat
the freaking
Donald Trump.
polls closed, she was beating him.
3 million
and
votes.
then by midnight, it was like, what the F just happened?
Because
Yeah.
you have something called the Electoral College that
No, I get
decides
that.
who the president is.
I get
Right.
that.
And we still won't get rid of it.
Right, but you know what? Even regardless of the Electoral College, I'm not mean like completely regardless of that, but you have this whole thing with the votes in each state and county. When they start breaking it down by county and this, that, and the other,
Right.
there are pollsters, there are people that get paid a lot of money
To fix
to
that.
figure that stuff out.
And to fix
that. Well, not just to fix it, but to fix it or figure it out, whatever it is, strategize about it.
Right.
Like, in a state like, let's say, Pennsylvania, right? Pennsylvania has majority of people live in the urban areas, but there's a lot of people in disparate counties in the rural area of Pennsylvania. And if you strategize and get enough of those little rural counties together, okay,
Right.
which is what happens in places like Pennsylvania, places like Ohio, that you can outweigh all of the people in a certain
In the
county
centralized
in
area.
central
Right.
Philly. It takes work, it takes hustle, but you said, and I'll never forget, you said when you were coming back from wherever you were coming from,
Ocean City.
right, and all those Trump signs and all those little hick
Like
backwood
2 hours straight.
right counties, that's what they did. They took all those rural places,
Right.
and they were able to, and they motivated these people, because these people would be motivated by his rhetoric,
Right.
right? You get people in the city that maybe not so motivated,
Right.
to vote, and that's how they do
It's
it.
gonna
They
be-
know how to rig and flip that system.
Right.
You know?
Listen, but if
All the trailer
Biden
park people.
wins, though, listen, it's gonna be a party like 1999. They're gonna be dancing in the streets.
Who?
Everybody.
When?
Anybody.
If Biden wins.
You know what? I
Everyone.
don't even care. I just want him to lose. I don't even care who
Right.
wins. It's not even about it's not even about who wins, and I think even
As
not
long as
minimizing,
he's
you know,
out
the
of
last
office,
election. I think a lot of those people that voted for Trump too was like they didn't want Hillary Clinton to win. Like the motivation for her to lose
they
was
really
strong.
hated her. Hated
it
her.
was strong. They hated her, and that's how I feel about him. I don't give a damn who it is.
Right.
I
Anybody
just don't want him. I just don't want him.
I've never seen
you know.
more loyal supporters.
Yeah.
For a person.
Well, yeah.
Such a person.
Well, I mean, he has his supporters are loyal, and I agree with that. But he still doesn't have the majority of people, and that's why I take
Right.
issue with, you know, well, we're gonna know we're not, because I didn't vote for this guy, and the majority of people did not vote for him. You know,
A lot of people did
so
not.
again, you just. I don't know, like you need somebody, you need these smart pollsters, you need these savvy people that know how to get out there and do
Get
what
paid
it
the
is
big bucks
that
for
they
it.
need to do.
All right, well, listen up. It's getting to be that time
Oh.
here. So,
Oh, I
Miss
just wanted to
E-
end. Can I end this on
Yeah.
a real positive note? Yeah. Did
Go
y'all go
ahead.
see The Lion King?
Not
I
yet.
haven't
Who
seen
wants
it
to
yet.
see that? I want
I
to see
do.
it.
I wanna see it.
wanna
Haven't seen
It
yet,
broke
though.
records this weekend.
Yeah, I know
didn't
it did, and I really do want to see it. I saw it when it came out. The first time when it was animated, and I didn't even have kids. It was good. The Lion King is a good movie.
Right. That's my.
Yeah,
go ahead.
that's
Mike.
a classic.
you know, Charlemagne, I was listening to Charlemagne on the radio. I said this back when the cartoon was out. I was like, this is Disney's way of telling the story of the black man without making a black character. And now Charlemagne's like, this is the story to me.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Who really emphasized on that. If anybody knows, shout out to brother Keith the barber, because he used to talk about that. He used to drop on that.
You're right.
And when you really think about it,
When you think about it, it is.
Then the
Yeah,
lioness
yeah,
has to
yeah.
come and let him know who he is and where his place, his rightful place should
What
be.
did it say?
That is-
Kings, right?
Huh?
Kings.
Hey man, you know.
Anyway,
Indeed.
so
I
So
just
Disney,
wanted,
shout out to Disney.
add one other little thing. No, I know that they're using the lion as the as the foil, but in reality, it really is the female lion that is she's the head honcho, so to speak, of the pride, not the male. Just wanted to let y'all know that.
just wanted to let us know
Yeah,
that.
just wanted to let
Well,
it's
he's
the
the
lioness.
protector. He's the
He's the
protector.
protector, but the lioness is
She
the one
does
that
the
lets
hunt-
right.
she does
and
the
she's the one
hunting.
that allows him to come in. You know, she's the one that allows him to come into the pride, and he doesn't stay with that particular pride forever. She can kick him out if there's another lion that is like
Just bringing it
stronger
like
and
that, like
exactly
that.
right. Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
I see the way you strutting around with your mane and
you
all
know,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm running this right
He
here.
doesn't stay forever. You know.
Right. Well,
so, yeah.
I'm glad that, like, again, there are opportunities, because
I wanna
some of the
see it.
voices behind that, you know, are very prominent. And I'll share this on air here. I was up for, and this was recently for a part in something, and I actually turned it down because
Oh.
what they wanted, I just felt like it was not a fit for me. And to put myself through that, I was just like, at this stage, so.
What was it? Can you be a little more blacker, Sean?
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking. What was
the
that
Hollywood
movie?
Shuffle thing?
Yeah, Hollywood
Yeah.
Shuffle.
We need a sidekick for
You
Johnny
think you
Wick
could be like
4.
blacker?
Right, but it had to do with, like, you know, the struggling father with the struggling son, and then them coming in and like the mediation and the whole nine. I was like, no.
Yeah, that's not the
Uh-oh.
role you want
Where's
to
this coming
do.
from?
Yeah.
Let's see.
You got time for the
818. You got about 1 minute. State your name, where you calling from. This is Let's Talk About It.
What up? Bray Hills, Justin, what's up?
All right, Justin, what's up?
Nothing, man. I was trying to call that night. Y'all kept me up on me, but I understand why. Cause like y'all had that one guy. Eventually, y'all had a conversation with.
Oh,
you
he
know what I mean?
called
Like,
last week.
and
Yeah.
Oh,
What guy?
wait, who hung up
What
on
are you
you?
talking
Remember
about?
the one that was talking about the shoes?
Oh yeah,
And
I remember.
we had
Did
him
you
on the
ever
line. We
steal?
put him
Yeah.
on hold.
Yeah.
It
And
was
then
something
the
about,
other
yeah,
dude,
yeah,
something
yeah,
about
yeah.
his mom, and then it just got crazy after
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
But
Welcome
I
back, bro.
watched the show. Yeah.
Welcome
Right,
back,
so
brother.
you ever
Yeah,
steal?
man.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling in, brother.
Well, Justin, I'm gonna give you about 3 minutes to say your
no, it's
piece.
good. It's good.
He just called it. Shout us
sure?
out. We shout
Alright.
you out, bro.
Justin, where you calling from? Yeah.
Granada
Indeed.
Hills.
Okay,
Cali.
good.
Oh, all right. Big up to Cali.
Indeed. Salute.
Yeah, but hey, real talk. You boys are on the coast, right?
East
Are
Coast.
y'all YO?
Yeah, we're on,
that's
we're on the
not right, yeah.
we're on the East Coast, Jersey. Right.
Okay. Let me just put it out there, and then your opinion is definitely merited. I feel that we reign Biggie and Pac the best only because they got shot and died in the process. While you have a man like, I don't know, Jadakiss that's been doing this shit for over 2 decades, the best
I understand what you're
lyricist
saying.
I've ever known, who doesn't get any credit at all. Like,
I love
doesn't even get
Jadakiss.
talked about
I'm a
in
big
that
Kiss
conversation.
fan. Word.
You have a point, and also add Tariq Trouter to that list, man, better known as Black Thought. Hello?
Well, I will say
Okay.
this. I'll say this.
Yeah, yeah.
I've said this when it happened, and it was touchy-feely. Now, Biggie was a lyrical beast, in my opinion. Pac was not. And when Biggie first dropped, and when he started coming up, in those days, in 92, 93, well, 94, 93, 94, when the discussion about who's hot in those streets with bars,
Right.
Biggie's name would come up. Pac's name never came up in discussions like that. Pac moved people with his
Well,
emotion
I mean-
and with his this and that, but lyrically, I never thought Tupac was the best MC. He has a body of work. He has a wide range of, but I say with Biggie, for a man to put out only two albums and still be called in the same breath as Pac, that's saying something.
All right. Well,
Oh yeah, but thank you for bringing that up, man.
Indeed, Justin, we
Right.
appreciate
Big
the
up
call,
to
brother.
Pac.
Killer
Fans mad
Cali,
at-
we always appreciate you. But all right, so we got to get ready to wrap it up. Miss E, when's our next show?
Okay, so our next show, we want you to stay tuned to our show, which is every other Thursday, BKS1 Radio at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And our next show is Thursday, August 8th.
Dang, time flies.
Wow.
All right,
Hey.
what you got, Dean Geronimo?
You know what? I'm going to just leave out with this, man. When you walk outside your front door, it's showtime and the world is your stage. Just make sure that people are not watching the rehearsal. With that being said, it's the 6-man Dean Geronimo. Have an outstanding weekend. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
All right,
Good
what you
night.
got, Wonder?
Hey man, I'm growing this garden. So I want everybody out there who believes in the power of the Most High God to pray for our little garden, because
Hey.
ultimately what we want to do is we want to expand it and grow it so we can start feeding people.
Nice.
All right, the garden.
Bring
Gilgal
bring
Garden,
some
the
stuff
Gilgal
in.
Garden.
Yeah, as you start
Yes,
harvesting,
yes.
Okay,
please
it's
bring
called,
us some
we'll
stuff.
do. It's called the Gil. We calling it the Gilgal Garden. Gilgal. Look that up in the Bible about Gilgal and Joshua setting up his lieutenants after Moses passed away.
Okay.
Gilgal.
Nice.
All right. Well, you know what, Wonder? I'm gonna give you the last word here on that. So I'm just getting back, but big up to the super producer. Welcome back again.
All bronzed up over there.
Please say, looking all golden.
Hey, to the gentleman who
Yeah.
makes it all happen. Is it his anniversary he's at, or is he just away? Okay. Well, big up to Storm Norm.
Shout
the
out to
first
Salute.
lady.
Norm the General.
Makes it all happen. And like I said, I'm gonna give Wonder the last word on the night, positive food for life, right? And with that said, if there's something you want to talk about, people call in and let's talk about it. That's a show. It's a wrap.
Peace.
Good night.
Peace.